Well, welcome to this Throwback on the Move special. I'm Vanessa Paz. With more than 70 years of broadcasting, we have been able to share so many memorable moments across San Diego. In this Throwback special, we dove into our CBS 8 archives and found the freeway boom that reshaped our roads and lives. These are the freeways that drive San Diego. I-5 keeps the coast connected, while the soaring Coronado Bridge offers a scenic shortcut. The 805 built to relieve pressure in Highway 52 to cut through the county's core. Through the decades, we documented the freeways that define how San Diego gets around. And we're kicking off this special in 1964, when freeways were still the future. That year, San Diego State Route 163, or as many know as the Cabrillo Freeway, was a significant development, costing $4 million for 7 miles. But not everyone was on board. Homes vanished, businesses faded, and critics warned of gridlock ahead. Our first story from Mel Nope isn't just about roads, but a community in transition.
Day 1964, presented nightly at 5:45 on TV8 San Diego.
Come a long way down that ribbon of concrete almost anywhere in California without having to stop. No traffic lights, no pedestrians usually, no busy intersections to slow you down, and as long as you get onto the right one in the first place, you can get where you're going faster. Now a part of San Diego's way of life, the Cabrillo Freeway, Highway 395 through Balboa Park, was the first major freeway in San Diego. It was opened for use in 1948 at a cost of $4 million for 7 miles. To date, 39 miles of full freeway have been constructed in the San Diego area. Another 7.5 miles are under construction. The newest convenience to motorists, the San Diego Freeway, is an example of what freeway travel means. For instance, during peak load hours from 8 to 5, average travel time from Washington Street in San Diego to E Street in Chula Vista has been shortened from 23.5 minutes to 12.5 minutes by taking the freeway rather than the old Harbor Drive route. Time saved, 11 minutes per trip. Obviously, freeway travel offers 2 main advantages: rapid vehicle movement from one area to another, and separation of through traffic from local traffic in the city. Statistics show they reduce accidents as well. But what of the disadvantages? By 1972, it's estimated, a total of 484 miles of freeway will be constructed and open to traffic in the Southern California area of San Diego, Imperial, and eastern Riverside counties. By then, families will have been routed, homes will have been torn down, roadside businesses will have died by the wayside. Many small businesses have wilted as traffic was taken off the former major streets and highways and put onto freeways, from which people aren't as likely to slow down and stop for refreshment or even for gas until they absolutely have to. And what of families that were forced to relocate so that huge equipment could gouge out the earth and level it into a strip of concrete? There are even those who maintain that freeways only attract more traffic and create more congestion as vehicles pour onto city streets. But the experts argue that a healthy business will continue to exist without curbside traffic, and people will go out of their way for a good restaurant. They point out that families forced to move are compensated for their land, and that most people want the freeways, at least as long as they go through the other fellow's backyard. City traffic is relieved, the experts point out, when freeways keep cross-country travel out of the metropolitan area. America's cities, large and small, are caught up in the web of freeways. Construction proceeds, with cities hoping to disentangle themselves from the strangulation hold of traffic jams brought on by the auto age. Traffic problems are nothing new, by the way. Julius Caesar had the same difficulty with his chariots, so he established no parking areas in Rome, devised a system of one-way streets, and banned wheeled vehicles from the center of Rome during the day, which isn't a bad idea either.
Wow, such incredible footage, and it looked like the speed limit's a lot lower back then. Well, our freeways are all about connection, and in 1967, city and county officials marked the completion of Friars Road, built to connect drivers directly to San Diego Stadium. The project, funded by federal, state, and local dollars, marked a huge milestone in Mission Valley's transformation from farmland to freeway hub. Now, this was a $10 million project funded by federal, state, and local sources. The ceremony, shown there, closed with a symbolic scroll presentation by Father Valentine Healy, Friars and Indian Maidens, officially dedicating that road. Well, next, this road trip takes us to the birth of the 5 and the 8 freeways, a main artery of San Diego's transportation system that now moves millions. I dug through the archives to learn how hard hats and blueprints paved the way for the freeways we rely on today. Flying into San Diego today looks like a postcard. The bay shimmering, downtown high-rises touching the sky, and the 5 freeway cutting through it like a concrete river. But hit rewind, and you'll see a very different scene.
We're tentatively planning on April 11th, Tuesday, a week from tomorrow. That would be, but we don't know for sure because all the materials necessary haven't arrived on the job yet.
The year was 1967. CBS 8's Jonathan Dunn Rankin is seen here interviewing Jacob Decima, better known as Mr. Caltrans, the man behind much of San Diego's early freeway system, later honored with his name on the 805. Here, he's leading a tour of the 5's newest stretch from Sassafras near Mission Hills north to Rosecrans, where the 8 would one day connect.
Right here at the north end, we do have a problem in that the traffic that wants to get back to Pacific Highway and Rosecrans has to make a very sharp right turn, and traffic wanting to get over to Route 8 has to cross Old Pacific Highway.
The 5 ended at Rosecrans, and any driver headed east, north, or west had a detour off the freeway. But change was coming fast because as crews laid concrete, they also laid excitement. The ramp connections from the 5 to the 8, both north and south, would open just 2 years later. Which brings us to 1969.
We feel that it will be much easier to get from one freeway to another, and you will be able to do so, of course, much safer than in the old interchange design.
This is Jeff Johnson, Assistant District Information Officer with the Department of Public Works, known today as Caltrans. He was unveiling the newest connection, the long-awaited on-ramps linking the 5 and the 8. Captured in this 3D model, it mapped out the complex flyovers, on-ramp and off-ramps tying Taylor Street, Morena Boulevard, and Camino del Rio into one connected system. And the cost to decrease traffic problems and routes for drivers, $11.7 million, with more than 33 miles of concrete laid down in this single project.
California motorist is one of the luckiest motorists in the United States when it comes to freeway building.
It was more than pavement, but a promise of faster commutes to keep San Diegans rolling smoothly over half a century later. I gotta admit, it was so cool to go over that footage. All right, well, now to a freeway built to ease the pain of driving on the 5. Yep, Interstate 805 cuts through the county with wide lanes and a viaduct big enough to stretch to San Francisco. It officially opened back in 1972 with scissors, speeches, and a few lucky drivers getting first dibs. News 8's Maurice Luque takes us through the ribbon cutting of a freeway built for the future.
Bicyclists in this area are requested to leave the freeway. Return to your automobiles and leave the freeway at once. The freeway is being closed due to numerous accidents in the area. Thank you.
Little bicycles, big bicycles, and every kind of 2-, 3-, and 4-wheeled cycle in between arrive bright and early for a bicycle ride on the new 805 freeway. With visions of long, uninterrupted concrete aprons stretching as far as the eye could see, the bicycle riders pumped and pedaled their way from El Cajon Boulevard across the big new Mission Valley Bridge and on north to the San Clemente Canyon. Because of the throng, numerous accidents resulted as the cyclists, speeding down the steep hills, overturned, ran over one another, and generally created wheeled pandemonium. Police, who expected to spend a leisurely day patrolling a few hundred pedal power advocates up and down the freeway, found themselves confronted with thousands of irate riders when the word came down to close the freeway due to the large number of accidents.
Well, how do you suggest we get back then?
Well, sir, if you'll take El Cajon Boulevard, you'll join on a Washington Street.
No, that's too much out of the way for us.
Well, sir, I'm sorry, but the freeway has been closed. There have been too many accidents, and we don't want to risk any more.
3 had to be taken to hospitals for treatment during the day. The call to close the freeway caught hundreds of riders at the wrong end of the thoroughfare, those who started in the south having pedaled north, and those who set out from the north suddenly finding themselves kicked off in the south. As the first cyclists began to leave, hundreds of latecomers began to back up from police roadblocks, not believing their ears when told their day on the freeway had been cut short. This is Gene Gleason reporting for TV8 News.
Formal dedication and ribbon-cutting ceremonies were held for the 7-mile expanse of white concrete, which extends north from El Cajon Boulevard to San Clemente Road. Several state, county, city, and civic officials wielded scissors in opening the 8-lane freeway, which will eventually extend 29 miles, passing through 3 cities and a portion of San Diego County. 805 is crisscrossed at various points by several thoroughfares. When completed, in 3 more years, there will be a total of 10 freeway-to-freeway connections and 22 local interchanges. Interstate 805 was designed to ease traffic congestion on Interstate 5. Officials estimating that between 75 and 100,000 vehicles will use 805 on a daily basis, and about 200 of those motorists got a head start on everyone else, lining up and cruising the freeway under the watchful eye of the California Highway Patrol. And the eyes of motorists were busy also viewing the Adams Street Bridge, praised by architects for what they call a creative use of concrete in design. Other design features catching motorists' attention were the retaining walls constructed to match the Adams Street Bridge and add a slight environmental touch to the surroundings. One of the main features on 805 is the Mission Valley Viaduct or bridge, which contains enough concrete to build a sidewalk from here to San Francisco. Total cost of the 805 project is in the neighborhood of $140 million. This is Maurice Luque reporting for TV8 News.
I certainly, as a San Diego native, could not imagine a world without the 805. Well, San Diego's freeway system wasn't built overnight. It was carefully planned with growth, traffic, and even fuel use in mind. In the late 1970s, planners mapped out routes that would later become reality. Now, this map shown here shows what it would be like for Route 52 stretching from the 805 past Cowles Mountain to Route 67 near Santee. Other plans included extensions of Route 125 through La Mesa all the way down to Route 125 and continuing to Route 54 west past National City to the 5. The vision, it was ambitious: shorter drives, cleaner air, and smoother commutes.
In fact, these routes, particularly Route 52, were built that it would save approximately 280,000 vehicle miles per day.
It is estimated the network plan saved more than 8 million gallons of fuel a year and cut air pollution by 1,600 tons annually. Well, our road trip through San Diego's history isn't over yet. Up next, Highway 52 gets a grand opening, literally. The big debut drew parachutes, politicians, and plenty of drivers ready to roll, but there was a single snag on opening day. Plus,
we can do with our great capacity everything that needs to be done to right all that is wrong in this land of ours.
One of San Diego's most scenic routes opened with fanfare. We're taking you back to the day the Coronado Bridge officially changed the way San Diego crossed the bay. Welcome back. From north to south and east to west, Highway 52 opened in 1970, connecting La Jolla to the 805. In 1986, News 8 reported on plans to extend it to Santa Road. And in 1993, we were at the celebration for the new stretch Tierra Santa to Santee.
I bet you just love driving out here. Yeah, Claremont Mesa Boulevard before rush hour is almost as fun as during rush hour. But just think, things may change once the state opens the Highway 52 extension next spring.
You know, there's going to be peak hour problems in town. There's no doubt about that. We know they're going to get worse. But the more of the network we build and the system that we got, the better off everybody's going to be.
Caltrans expects to open the first part of the 52 extension from Interstate 805 to Convoy Street. That's by spring. The next leg from Convoy to Santo Road should open by the summer of 1988.
We're going to see traffic that normally uses the city street system to transfer from the north-south freeways, like Claremont Mesa Boulevard, Balboa, and Miramar, start switching over and getting on these sections of freeway.
Even though the state of California has planned building State Highway 52 since the 1960s, it never really felt it had the money to do it. That's because most of the money was going for the major interstates like Highway 15.
Right now, Caltrans is working with a $160 million construction budget in San Diego County. 5 years from now, though, the budget will drop to just $12.5 million. The federal money for highway projects is drying up, which means San Diego County may have to savor the Highway 52 extension because not many other major projects are planned for the future. Bob Siegel, News 8, Tierra Santa.
It was a grand opening. Navy parachutists, dignitaries,
start any time now we're here.
Politicians, Hudson and Bauer from KFMB Radio, and hundreds of onlookers, all here to open a new stretch of Highway 52 from Tierra Santa to Santee.
All right, there it is.
Normally, I would be very reluctant to walk down the middle of a freeway that's just opened, but you see, there is a catch. Even though they have the opening ceremonies for the freeway today, the freeway's not open yet.
This caught some drivers by surprise. Lots of people wanted to drive the new 52.
It seemed like millions. It seemed like a Padre game was a Charger game was emptying out.
So you're expecting to take it today?
I was hoping to, yeah.
And now?
Now I gotta go back.
Okay.
Gotta take the long way.
The freeway just wasn't quite ready.
Well, it was that little bit of rain we had a few days ago.
The pavement was too wet to put down the striping.
Naturally, the striping is the very last thing before we can allow traffic on it. And the weather just didn't help us out this time.
Weather permitting, the freeway will open tomorrow afternoon, or more likely, on Saturday. Still, some vehicles tried it out today. Bicycles were first, and then a collection of classic and antique cars. We got a ride in a 1959 Olds convertible. This stretch of freeway will handle over 50,000 cars a day, and it should mean 20,000 fewer cars on Interstate 8 every day.
Man, this will be a zip.
It was a grand opening that didn't really open anything, but a lot of people will be using this stretch of Highway 52 soon. Hal Clement, News 8.
Well, in the summer of '67, Coronado was making room for a game changer. Construction was underway on what would become San Diego's most iconic bridge. Fill sand was removed from the bottom of the bay and dumped along the edge of a small section of the Coronado Golf Course. 1.25 million cubic yards of dirt was moved to prepare the Coronado shore. About 500 concrete pilings, some of them 100 foot tall, were built in Long Beach and brought down on a barge for the bridge's construction. The Coronado Bridge was officially dedicated August 2nd, 1969, during the Nixon era and Beatles breakup. The $47 million marvel stretched over 2 miles, linking two cities and ushering in a new era over the bay. News 8 was there as antique cars rolled across and boats cruised underneath it. During the dedication ceremony, which included speeches and a plaque unveiling, then Governor Ronald Reagan called it, quote, the loveliest in the land.
Let's all try to use this occasion as encouragement that we can build what has to be built. We can rebuild that which needs rebuilding. We can do with our great capacity everything that needs to be done to right all that is wrong in this land of ours.
On this dedication day, the public was allowed to walk and take photos of this on the span just for the afternoon before it was closed to just cars. What a time. And on the 20th anniversary of the Coronado Bay Bridge in 1989, reporter Greg Hurst revisited the landmark's legacy. The bridge had become both a crucial connector and a point of contention. Many locals praise its convenience and beauty, but some Coronado residents still worry it brings too much traffic and crowds. But with nearly 70,000 cars crossing it daily, the bridge has undeniably reshaped life on both sides of the bay.
It's nice so people could go from Imperial Beach down to this side, and it's an easier way instead of going all the way around.
Really a beautiful bridge, and I'm sure that the majority of people in this area here like it very much.
Beautiful indeed. Well, once San Diego's freeways were finally connected, we hit the streets with one simple question. Which one's your favorite? And the answers may surprise you. Plus, a burst of color where you least expect it. How Caltrans turned dull concrete into blooming corridors with freeway flowers. That's all ahead. Welcome back to this On the Move special. While we spend so much time on the freeways, they should look good, right? When we are stuck in traffic, sometimes beautiful flowers can make commuting less stressful. Well, in 1978, a Caltrans architect told our Doug McAllister they wanted to have colorful ground cover. And in this climate, we get to enjoy it year-round.
With all the time we spend on freeways, scenic diversions are nice, and these African daisies are a nice diversion. They were planted 3 years ago by Caltrans and are a colorful departure from the normal ice plant or ivy ground cover used along freeways. The white, purple, and yellow flowers are African daisies, and the orange flowers you may have seen near Escondido are called capeweed. They are blooming amid the freeway bustle because of Caltrans landscape architect Bob Vogel, who came up with the idea.
Well, originally we want to have more color, so we were going to use this ground cover and replace it for the ice plant. But we found through the last few years that this does require as much water as the ice plant, but we get the bloom.
What kind of public response have you gotten over it?
Quite a bit of response, mostly positive. They usually want to know what the name is and where they can buy it so they can plant it in their own yards.
Unlike some freeway wildflower plots in other states, which may bloom for a few weeks, the daisies and capeweed bloom year-round, though the bloom is best this time of year. And the flowers are more drought-tolerant than ice plants. You can see them along I-15 at Escondido, 805 at Kearney Mesa and Chula Vista, and Interstate 5 at Oceanside. In all, there are nearly 60 acres of the freeway flowers in the San Diego area. And while a rose may be a rose may be a rose, a freeway flower is an African daisy, or sometimes a capeweed. Doug McAllister, News 8 on the Move, Kearney Mesa.
And during some parts of the year, if you head even more north to Riverside, you could actually catch the poppies off the 15. Well, from all of the freeways we've shown you, one question remains. Which one do drivers actually love the most? Well, back in 1985, News 8 hit the streets to ask that simple question with surprisingly strong opinions. From the smoothest commutes to the most scenic drives, the answers may surprise you.
We spend so much time on the freeways of San Diego, it seemed logical to figure out the best freeway. Opinions vary.
805.
Where's that?
You go straight through to just about to anything, any place.
52.
Why is that?
Because you can go fast and there's not a lot of cars. It's really empty.
Don't let the highway patrol hear that.
I like Interstate 8.
Really? Man must not have seen the Interstate 8 so many of us know and love at rush hour.
There is no favorite freeway.
She must have spent plenty of time on Interstate 8.
Oh, 163 going through Balboa Park.
There we have it. It has been called, with justification, one of the most beautiful stretches of freeway in the country. Now, if you take it to work every day, if you curse the traffic and the curves, maybe you've never really taken the time to appreciate its beauty. Of course, if you're driving, maybe you should concentrate on the road and forget about the beauty. But it is there.
And I have to say, as a San Diego native, the 5 tops my list. Well, thank you so much for watching this Throwback on the Move special. To see more throwbacks like this one on CBS 8, plus just click on the News tab at the top of the screen. Until next time, I'm Vanessa Paz.